If you're watching this, you've probably felt it. That moment when everything you've built crumbles because you couldn't hold yourself together. Not because you're weak, but because no one ever taught you where strength actually lives. There's a story about a Japanese tea master named Takeda who lived 400 years ago. He was invited to demonstrate his craft before the most powerful warlords of his time. When he arrived, his hands trembled. His breathing was shallow. Every muscle in his body wanted to flee. But the moment he touched the tea whisk, something shifted. His hands became still. His breath deepened. And what those warlords witnessed wasn't a man overcoming fear. It was a man who had transcended the very concept of fear itself. This isn't a story about willpower. This is a story about what happens when you stop fighting yourself. The problem nobody names. We've been sold a lie about self-improvement. We think the problem is external. Too many distractions, not enough discipline, the wrong environment. But there's an older diagnosis that modern psychology is only now confirming. The real problem isn't what you do, it's who you are when you do it. Imagine a violinist preparing for the world's most important performance. She's practiced 10,000 hours. Her technique is flawless. But the night before the concert, she lies awake. Not from excitement, from panic. And the panic isn't about the music, it's about her, the scattered, fragmented version of herself that emerges under pressure. This is the condition of modern life. We're not fragmented because we lack discipline. We're fragmented because we've never learned to be whole. The Japanese concept that changes everything. An elderly Japanese philosopher once explained it like this. He said that most people are like a house with no foundation. Beautiful architecture on the surface, but no center holding it together. When the wind comes, the house collapses, not because the walls are weak, but because there's nothing beneath them. The concept he was describing, though he never used the term directly, is zanshin, the lingering mind, the ability to remain completely present even after the action is complete. But here's what makes zanshin different from what the West calls focus or concentration. Zanshin isn't about forcing your attention onto something. It's about removing everything that fragments your attention in the first place. Think of a samurai drawing his sword. Western martial arts teach you to think about the target, to visualize success, to sight yourself up. But the samurai master teaches something radically different. He teaches you to empty the mind so completely that there is no distance between intention and action. The sword doesn't move toward the target. The sword and the target become one. This isn't mysticism. This is neuroscience dressed in ancient language. The architecture of inner stability. Our elderly Japanese guide, let's call him Sensei Haruto, used to say that human consciousness operates at two levels. There's the surface level, where everything moves. Emotions rise and fall, thoughts scatter and reform, sensations come and go. But beneath that surface, there's another level, a level of being rather than doing, a level of presence that doesn't depend on circumstances. Most people live their entire lives on the surface. They react to everything. A critical email sends them spiraling. A single rejection creates a cascade of self-doubt. A moment of conflict can poison an entire day. But the person who has descended to that deeper level, they experience the same events, the same pressure, the same pain, but they're not controlled by it. Sensei Haruto called this mushin, no mind. But again, this is misunderstood in the West. No mind doesn't mean being unconscious or detached. It means being so fully conscious, so completely present, that you're not creating unnecessary resistance to reality. A man with mushin can receive harsh criticism and remain solid, not because he's defended against it,
but because he's not adding layers of interpretation on top of it. He hears the words, he learns what's useful, and the rest dissolves like mist. The practice nobody wants to do. Here's where it gets practical. Sensei Haruto taught a simple daily practice. In the morning, before the chaos begins, spend 15 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Not meditating in the spiritual sense, just sitting, breathing, observing your own mind without judgment. In that 15 minutes, you'll notice something. Your mind creates entire narratives. It projects failures that haven't happened. It rehearses conversations that will never occur. It spins stories about what others think of you. The practice isn't to stop this, it's to simply notice it, to create a small space between you and your thoughts. And in that space, something remarkable happens. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness observing your thoughts. This distinction, this single distinction, is the foundation of everything that follows. The second practice is what Sensei Haruto called kinhin, mindful walking. Throughout your day, pick one mundane activity: walking to your car, climbing stairs, making tea. For that activity, be completely present. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the sensations. Don't think about the past or the future. Just be here. This might sound trivial, but it's revolutionary, because every time you return to the present moment, you're weakening the habit of mental fragmentation. You're building a new neural pathway, and after weeks of practice, something shifts. Presence becomes your default rather than your exception.
The result that nobody expects. After 3 months of this practice, something changes, but not in the way you'd expect. You don't become more aggressive. You don't become more dominating. You don't become more impressive in a conventional sense. Instead, people begin to feel something around you they can't name. It's not charisma in the theatrical sense. It's a quality of stillness that conveys safety. It's the absence of desperation. When someone is genuinely at peace with themselves, others feel that. They trust it. They're drawn to it. This is what Sensei Haruto called the byproduct of mastery. You weren't trying to become magnetic. You were simply trying to become whole. And wholeness is magnetic because it's so rare. Here's what the old Japanese masters understood that we've forgotten. The external world will always be chaotic. The economy will rise and fall. People will disappoint you. Plans will crumble. But your internal world, that's the only territory that belongs entirely to you, the only place where you have absolute authority. And the question worth asking isn't how to control the external world. The question is, have you ever spent a day, a single day, where your internal state was actually under your governance? If the answer is no, then this is your invitation, not to become someone different, but to become someone whole. The practice is simple, the results are profound, and the time to begin is right now. Thank you for watching.